Hey guys, it's Smudge here. Right, interesting kind of thing that we're going to be doing tonight. A little bit of mission building. Nothing really kind of exciting, nothing kind of really mind blowing, but something that maybe you guys will learn something from. Been wanting to do some mission building for quite a while. Going to the mission editor. I did a mission for the 504 guys that I fly with a little while ago, called Defend Gory. That ended up kind of being quite popular with the guys I fly with. We've flown it a few times and it's kind of gone really well. And I wanted to rebuild it, kind of making it a bit more complex, a bit more kind of a bit more kind of random. So what it is. It's an idea that was given to a friend of mine called Bruber, back flying lock-on in the early kind of 2000s. He created a mission at the time where there were waves of tanks attacking Vodi in the north, and you had to take off an Su-25s, fly around, destroy the tanks, and when you destroy the tanks, the new waves come in. And it's a mission concept that I've really enjoyed. Throughout all the time I've kind of been playing DCS. It's something that's worked really quite well, and I've built a few missions around that kind of same scenario. But over time I've kind of been pushing it out and learning ways of making it better and more refined. Now this was the original mission I built. Had Harriers taking off from Vaziani, flying out to Gori, probably murdering pronunciations of place names here. But when you enter here, units or a unit spawned in, so like Group 1 would spawn in and start coming down the roads heading towards Gori. When you kill Group 1, Group 2 would spawn in from a slightly different direction and come in and then start heading towards Gori. And then when you destroyed, like the next group came in and that kept going, so, every time you kill a unit, the next unit would spawn in and starts its leg in. And it works quite well, but what I wanted to do was kind of use more triggers to make it more random. So using the trigger systems, you can put in random probabilities. You can put in like 3 or 4 different units, and then use a trigger sequence to kind of roll the dice to say which unit comes in first, or which unit actually comes in from that group. You can do quite a lot with the kind of in-game triggers, and that's what I really kind of want to be looking at tonight. So I'm going to be rebuilding this mission, like the original mission that I built here. I'm going to be building it from the kind of ground up, using the triggers. This one only has a few triggers in it, not many, which are just kind of when group dead, spawn the next group. That's pretty much all of the triggers are, and then there's clean ones here. So when this group dead, when that group's done, just deactivate it, get rid of it off the map. But basically all of the triggers are really simple. Is when one group dies, spawn the next group, and then there's just like a sequence in which they come in, which is great the first couple of times you fly it, but then after you've flown it 3 or 4 times, you start knowing where the units are coming in from. So it's like that the first group's coming from the north, the second group's coming from the east. So I'm going to rebuild this so that it is a bit more random and a bit more kind of bit difference in it. So every time you fly it, there'll be like a different experience or a different kind of scenario that plays out. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll click new mission here. One caucus now. I've covered this in one of my things before, that whenever you create a new mission, it's always a good idea to choose, kind of put the countries where you need them, because you never know kind of later on down the line, whether you're going to need a unit that's in one of these countries. And then you'll find all of a sudden you can't use it. But what I'm going to be doing for this is putting insurgents on red. I'll put USAF aggressors on red. I probably won't be using them, but it just gives you the options of having some blue units and some different units on red. We've got Georgia on this side, which has a lot of the Russian units, although there are some Russian units that you can't put in blue. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so oh yeah, choosing countries. So yeah, it's always a good idea to make sure that the units that you choose go to the right place, because after you've started building the mission, you can't change this, which is something I wish that they would enable, the changing of units after you've started creating a mission. You know, I don't think it would really be that difficult to implement, but it is something that you can't do. So I'm pretty much happy with this, because I'm only really going to be using Russian units, but I've got some insurgent type light units and some blue units on that side in case I need them. And there's plenty of countries on this side, including a couple of red countries, like the Ukraine and Georgia, I think, is in here somewhere. There it is, yeah. So you can take some red units from there if you need them anyway. Right, okay. So what we're going to do is kind of just start placing units on the ground. Generally what I do personally is get units on the ground, kind of around the map, and then once I've got all of the units down where I think they should be, then I'll start kind of playing with the triggers and putting the different triggers in place. Yeah, cause it's easy doing that way rather than kind of putting units, building triggers, putting units, building triggers, otherwise you're there kind of all night. So yeah, let's get starting. Placing units, really simple. You just kind of select the units that you want from ground units, give it a name, put it somewhere on the map, and then yeah, magic happens. So I'm going to be doing it around Gory, around this area. The reason I do this, it's a really nice area to fly around. In fact, if I put this into not map mode, sat mode, you can kind of see the area. There's lots of roads that head into the area. There's lots of kind of detail on the ground here. If we go into map options, we can actually no, that's mission options, map options. We could actually cut some of these down so you can see kind of like road links. So you can see kind of where the major roads are coming in from, and all of the roads coming south from Russia kind of all go into Gory. There's no other kind of road systems that go down and through. So yeah, you've got these like main roads that come through, and everything kind of goes through Gory. Gory's the center kind of area of influence in the area. So it's a good region to kind of build missions around. So let's get started anyway. So what I'm going to do now, in my whole idea around the waves is that it starts off easy and then it gets more difficult. So wave 1 is just light units, kind of things that won't shoot back at you. You know, you can kind of take your time in killing them, and then once they're dead, then kind of more complex units will spawn in, and more threats will come in, making it harder as kind of time goes on. So let's have a look. So the first unit that we'll place down, we'll select ground units. We want Russia, and then we'll call this helps if I can spell, group 1A. So we know that this is group 1, which will be the first group that spawns, and is group A, because I'm going to be building 3 units in each group, if that kind of makes sense. So group 1 will have units A, B and C, and then I'll set a random trigger that either group A, B or C will spawn in given certain circumstances. Then when a unit in group 1 is killed, a random unit in group 2 will spawn. Now there is like random logic spawn in place you can use. You can kind of set an area and then say spawn a unit randomly somewhere in this area, but I don't really kind of like using it, because sometimes units spawn in very silly places, and places where you can't find them, especially in 2.5, as there is so many forests. Like all of this green area here is forest, and if a unit was to spawn in here, it wouldn't be able to move, you wouldn't be able to see it, and it just kind of become a pain in the ass. So by setting units on road and having a set unit that can spawn in, then we'll do that. So what I want to do actually is kind of set these about 10-20 miles, so we'll set them out from Gara, and then we'll set them kind of travelling down this road for group 1A. So we'll go put them unit here. We'll select unarmed, because we want some pretty easy units to begin with. If you want to see what the unit is, just click this little button here, the kind of weapon loadout thing that gives you like a visual representation. So this is kind of like a lightly armoured Russian version of the Humvee, I guess, like a unit. You can kind of go through these and see what the different units are, what they look like. There is a lot of updated models in this, and a lot of very good looking units, and there is also a lot of old kind of lock on and flaming cliffs units that look low res and a bit naff. Although a lot of the units are kind of being updated over time to look better, but you can go through, kind of see what sort of units you want, and then kind of make your choices from there. Like this is one of the very old lock-on units, just looks hideous, so you don't really want to be using things like this. That's a rather funly textured one. There is another, here we go. So this is one of the new DCS 2.5 ground units that's put in. It's got a very, very high level of detail on it. Kind of like combined arms level of details, and it is, you know, like a very good looking truck. So we've got the Gaz 66, we've got that APC Tigger 233 thing we can use. Yes. So just kind of going through, there's another kind of highly detailed covered truck thing here, another Kamaz off-road truck, very nicely detailed. So when you see these things through the targeting pods and things on the aircraft when you're flying about, to look cool. Again, another kind of unit that's been updated to look much better than what it used to. The UAZ RL 375 still looks a bit naff, but it's usable. Interesting. So just going through these, kind of looking at the different units, having a think about what I want to put in. These are good as like command trucks and things like that. You know, if you've got like a command area or something that you want to set to be blown up, you can use these sort of things. So what I might do is set one of these and two of those Kamaz or something like that. I might set 4 units on the first group, so we'll set let's have a look. One of these, we'll actually set these on road. Set a waypoint to Gory, center of Gory. So as you can see, when you set them to travel on road, they'll stick to the road and they'll travel along the road link all the way to our objective. So we've got 2 of those, and then we'll put in a couple of those Kamaz trucks. There's the right one, yeah. Also, one thing you can do here as well, if you want to set it to winter, you can put on like a wintry skin, and it looks like it's covered in snow. It would be nice if it automatically generated the different paint schemes depending on the season, but you have to do it in the mission editor. So, you know, if you're going to play it in summer, just put on like a summery one. If you're going to be playing it in winter, then put on like a wintry thing that makes it look like it's covered in snow and a bit more kind of a bit colder, I suppose. Russian winter, yeah. So that's that anyway. Right, okay, so we'll put in 2 of these. So group 1, nice easy group to kill is just 2 jeeps and 2 trucks. Again, you can kill this with a guns pass, with rockets. It's not going to be anything kind of majorly challenging to kill, but it is a good kind of first kill to do. In fact, what was the mission start time? Is 8. I'm going to set this to not 2300, 12. So we'll set that 12 June 1st. So what we can do with this now is that, come on, click on the unit. So the start point is at 12 o'clock, and to get to the objective is going to take an hour and 18 minutes, which is a long time. So we'll actually kind of speed these guys up. We'll set that to yeah, so that's 15 knots ground speed. I guess that's maybe what, like 15 to 20 miles an hour or something. I guess it's not even going to be close to that. So it'll take roughly an hour to get to your objective, which is good for me. I'm happy with that. I could move them just slightly back and then check that. So right, so at that speed it'll take them roughly an hour to get to Gory. That might seem like a long time, but it gives you a chance to find them, kill them, things like that. Low stress sort of thing. You don't need to worry about them spawning right next to the objective. So what I'm actually going to do is copy this group, and then I'm going to paste this down. Let's have a look. We'll find somewhere up here. We'll put them in Tishkvali. Let's put them in here. Set them to on road. There we go. So they've chosen to go this route. Where the hell are you going? Oh right, okay, so let's put that over there. So bring the endpoint down, put that in Gory as well. So they'll take this route kind of coming down here. So we've got this one coming in from this one, this coming in from this one, and we'll call this group 1B. And then we'll put another one, let's have a look, we'll put it up in over here. So one thing, when you copy and paste, it literally copies and pastes the distance to the markers as well, so you have to get the markers and bring them back into where you want them. So that one's it's taken just over an hour to get there as well, so that's fine. What was group B actually taking to get there? It's just over an hour and 10 minutes as well, so a little bit longer than that one, but that's fine. Okay, so I'll call this one group 1C. Okay, so that's the first first groups down. In fact, what I need to do on all of these as well is put these on late activation. If you don't tick late activation, you can't activate them with triggers, they'll just spawn in at the start of the game. So late activation is always an important one to put on there. Right, okay, so that's the groups 1 setting. So now we'll start doing group 2. Now for group 2, I'll put in kind of a mixture of soft units and maybe a unit or something that's a little bit harder, has a gun, not a gun that's going to be a threat, but something that will make you think about kind of hanging around too long. So let's put these guys in. Just thinking. That's I'm sure black is a train track, isn't it? Map options. Does this differentiate train tracks to roads? I don't think it does. So we take roads off, that takes off. Is that a road or a train? I'm sure black is train track. Yeah, that's definitely a train track. Black's train track, okay. Yeah, see that there, cool. Right, okay, so let's figure out some routes for group 2 to come in. It's nice if you can put the routes, the groups coming on slightly different routes, because then, you know, if you know what route one group come down, you can just kind of watch that road for the next group coming past. So mixing up a little bit can be quite cool too. So we'll put we'll put ground units. Just trying to find roads. Let's put that up here, this group. Okay, so with this one we'll put these on road. Late activation, we'll call this group 2A. Just make sure that I can get there. In fact, these guys might be a little bit closer. So that's only half an hour for them to get there. Let's have a look. Okay, so they're coming from a different place, but they will travel down the same road to get there. It'll take them, let's have a look, an hour and 15, which is, I can speed that up. I should put these guys up to 15 as well. And that's 15, set that to 15, so that's just under an hour for them to get there as well, so that's fine. Then with this group, what I'll do is put one of these, in fact I might put on a UAZ on the front of this one. UAZ, yep, so one of these guys up front. Then I might put in a truck, Gaz 66, because that thing's quite a cool looking truck. And then what I might put in is something that's a little bit armoured, maybe a BMP2, because BMP twos are cool. They've got an automatic cannon on them, not much of a threat against aircraft, but if you're low and slow over the top of them, they will give you a good battering, and also they take something a little bit harder than a gun to kill. So we'll put one of those in. Then we'll put in, let's see, another truck, unarmed. Yeah, right truck, and then the two more of those. So here we've got a couple more units. We've got a couple of jeeps, an APC, and a couple of trucks. So slightly kind of just a slight increase on the previous group. It's not like a massive kind of build up on the previous group, but again, it's giving you something a little bit extra to kind of think about on that one. So that was group 2A. We'll grab these, we'll copy them, and then we'll find another route for these guys to come in from. Okay, so a slightly different route into to the first group down. We'll call this group 2B. Again, a lot of this is rinse and repeat, but the kind of the fun bit comes when you start building up the triggers. Let's have a look. So that road actually ends there. Is there another road that comes south-north? We put these guys in here. Okay, yeah, that's a completely different route. What's the time on that? That's 53 minutes. So it's there or thereabouts an hour. So again, it still gives you that time to kind of find it and kill them. So, and that's group 2C. Right, okay. All good so far. So that's 2 groups in. Group 3, let's have a look. Just wondering if, yeah. So that's a good 2 groups. I'm happy with that. So you got kind of 4 units there of unarmed kind of light stuff like recon units, I suppose, or light units. So I guess the premise of this is that Russians are invading, coming in waves. Your first group is kind of like a recon element, you know, like light recon, fast moving, kind of coming in, you know, trying to get to the area to scout ahead. Second units, maybe like infantry support, so you've got like infantry trucks and APC in support and a couple of light vehicles. And then now we'll start kind of building up on that. So we'll start putting in some more heavy units, maybe some things that'll start shooting back at you, and then things like that. So let's start building up Group C. So I'll put Group 3 over here somewhere as well. I think groups. Let's put them here. Right. Okay. So what we'll do on this one maybe is put a couple of armored units up front. I like BTRs. BTRs are quite cool. So I'll put one of those up front, followed maybe by another BMP2. MLB APCs, because, you know, who doesn't like amphibious tanks? So that's 3, 4, and then we might put in some more unarmed trucks. There's troop carriers. Make sure that's the right one. Yep. There we go. So a bit of a bigger unit, I suppose. Just thinking about this. In fact, what I might do, I might be a bit of a bugger in this group, is put in one of these nasty bastards, because you can't go wrong with this ZSU-23 on the back of a truck. And I think it's about time that they got something shooting back at them. So here you've got some kind of harder units which will take bombs, kind of accurate rocket hits, maybe even Mavericks if you want to use Mavericks, I suppose, and one of these with a couple of trucks on the back. So we'll put 6 units on there. We'll put these on road, add a direction, so we'll want these going to Gory. Cool, and they're coming in from an even different route. Let's have a look. So that's 50 minutes, travelling slower now, 10 knots, so yeah, 10 knots, I guess, whatever that works out in miles an hour on the ground. But yeah, they're coming from a different route, travelling slightly slower, so it still takes them about the same amount of time to get there, but these guys will take a little bit more of a concerted effort to kill. As you can see, because I placed a route, it's placed Group 1 at the front and these guys at the back, so I'm happy with that. Oops. Delete, edit. Right, okay, and what we'll do is I will copy these guys down again, so we'll call this actually Group 3A. Copy those. Speed, that's 40 minutes for them to get there, in fact. So make them a bit slower. So different route coming into everything else, a bit slower, still takes them the same amount of time to get into Gory. is 2A. In fact, no, wait, that's not 3B, that's actually 2. Is that 2B? Yeah, that was a group 2, wasn't it? 2C, that was 2B. Oh, yeah, I put it up here, didn't I? I'm having a mind melt, just ignore me. In fact, no, wait, that is 2B. Am I how? These guys didn't copy properly, did they? That's 3A. Let's have a look at my unit list. What have I got here? So I've got 2A, 2B, 2C. Got any other 2Bs? 2. So that's group 1A, 1B, 1C. I'm having a mind melt here. That's 2A, 2B, weird. So why are they coming in as group 2C? That's fine. 3A. Yeah, you're wrong, aren't you? You don't need to be there. La 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 la. Group 2B. Don't just love it when things go right. 1B, 1B, 1C, 2A. Don't know why it's not changed all of the. Oh, now it has. Okay, so now that group 2B, 3A. Right, now I need to copy you, don't we? So, yeah, please copy. And I will put these. Where did I put them before? La 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 la. Here. Yeah, right. Okay, now start copying the right unit. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Cool. Right, and these are group 3B. And then we'll find somewhere for them to spawn over this way. So this isn't the most kind of exciting part of it, but when we get into the triggers, hopefully you know, all of this will start kind of making sense. But just kind of putting in units, I'll maybe put in I'm trying to think now how many waves to put in. Maybe kind of like 8 waves, but what I might start doing as well is actually doubling up waves, so that when one unit dies it spawns in 2 units coming in from different directions. In fact, I might do that next for the next group, but the triggers on that will be a bit more kind of a bit more funny to work out. Yeah, Dingo Bog on the Dingo Bog on the chats there saying if you create triggers on the first group, it'll copy the triggers. If you copy and paste the first group, it will rename the associated triggers when you rename the group. Yeah, you can clone triggers when you're making them. That's generally how I do it. So I'll make a trigger, clone it, change the unit names in there, then I'll know kind of know how the process is working out. I know it's probably not like the most kind of not the best way to do it maybe, but it kind of it works for me. I know that probably sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but I'm happy with it. Just making sure these are all on late activation, because I think I forgot to set these to late on. Yeah, cool. Okay. Okie dokie, picking a pokey. So let's figure out the next group. So that's 3 groups in. What I might actually do is set a static location that I have to find and kill. So 3 groups, and then what I might do is then put down an artillery group, or maybe kind of like a few artillery groups around the map, and then yeah, it's like something to go find and kill. spot. It's pretty good. In fact, I like this area here. Yeah. So put this down as artillery. The new Smirchers look awesome, by the way. Absolute crazy, and they are complete server killers. If you have a few Smirchers firing rockets, if you're running a server or running a mission, it will literally die to death. Same with these things. Multiple launch rocket systems, because they launch so many rockets so quickly, the server has to kind of figure out what each individual rocket's doing and then pass that over the network, and it does absolutely just badger the hell out of it, and it brings servers to knees when you use these things. I might use not this guy. Yeah, I like this guy. So I might start using these. We'll put 4 of these down. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll edit. One thing with this: always place the first unit where you want it, and then place the other units kind of around it. Put a gun emplacement down here. What I might do is put in another ZSU on a truck, or maybe even 2 of them, just to be an arsehole. Yeah, by having these Oral 375s in, the guns can reload and refire, so having a few of these in amongst the guns is always quite cool. So just swing these around, just so that it's not all kind of looking exactly the same. Cool, so that's kind of like an artillery gun line. So you've got an artillery gun line now with kind of like truck support and a couple of anti-aircraft guns there. So what we'll do is copy this. In fact, what we'll do is call this Group 4 RTA, just so I know kind of what they are. So that's Group 4 RTA. Copy those, and then I'll place these down in different locations as well. So that it's not always the same artillery group that's spawning in. And in fact, are they in? In fact, no, they're not in range already. Let's just find somewhere where they're actually in artillery range. Okay, that's cool. Did I look okay? Yep. Okay, so that's actually inside of their firing range now. So if I give them a command to fire, which you can do through advanced waypoints, add form command fire at point, zone radius 1,000 feet, in fact 5,000 feet. Make it more than 5,000 feet. No, it looks like 3,800 is the most it can do anyway. Okay, so we've got these guys firing at point, firing into Gory. So these guys, when they spawn in, it normally takes them about 3 minutes to set up, like line up their guns and load up ready to fire, and then they'll start firing. And it's quite cool because the smoke when they fire kind of gives away that position quite nicely as well if you haven't found them by that time. So that's quite good. Quite happy with that. Oh, hi Crash. Crash has just come on stream. How you doing there, buddy? Right, okay, so we'll copy and paste these, then we'll find another place to put them. Thinking here as well, so we'll put these here, find the first unit, put that down there. Then we can just kind of arrange them around that point. What I might do with this though is have one and change this guy to a manpad. Then have these dudes get that over here. Cool, there we go. So now this one, call this group B, is the same, but a little bit different. So when this one spawns in, you've got a man pad in there, which is going to create a little bit of a threat. When this one spawns in there, you've got the 2 AAA, which is kind of something to think about as well. Interestingly, actually, the firing point stayed the same as well, so that's nice of it. And then what we'll do is create group C over here somewhere. In range now. Yeah, that's kind of in range for firing point, so. All fun and games. Do is actually stagger these guys just a touch. Just trying to think actually. Something a bit different there to think about a shilker. So if you get group RT3B, then you've got a ZSU on a truck and a shilker to think about. So there you go, a little bit of variety in the difference on these artillery groups that you've got to find. Let's make sure all these guys are pointing in the right sort of direction. Cool. And that'll all fire on point there as well. Awesome. Right, so that was group 4, wasn't it? Okay. Now we'll do group 5, and I think with group 5, I'll try and set it so that we can get like 2 groups spawning in at the same time. Yeah. This time maybe, because it's 5, maybe put some tanks in. Not light tanks, maybe T-55s with trucks as well. So there's a build up, like a natural progression in the difficulty there. So what I might do, set these off from the same place here. So this is going to be what, group 5A, we'll call this armoured on road. Going to use T-55s. I know that's probably not incredibly realistic having T-55s, but you know, it's progressions, and a T-55 is easier to kill than a T-72 anyway. What I might also actually do with these, just to be a right, as they say, can't, is disable a dispersion of fire. Because what convoys do, if you have a unit moving up the road and you attack or kill a unit, the unit as a group will stop and then disperse on the road. Now when they disperse on the road, they stop normally for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then they'll kind of then get underway again, and off they go. Now if you turn off the dispersal and the fire, if one unit dies, the rest of them will just keep on ploughing through. They'll just kind of divide up, oh sorry, they won't divide up, they'll just kind of like move around a unit that's been killed, and they'll just keep on going ahead, so you can't actually stop the unit. So that actually kind of becomes a bit more of an emergency. So I think that's a real arsehole thing to do, so I'm going to do that. So we'll put in a couple of T-55s. I like BMP2s. I just think they're so cool. And of the other BMPs are just ugly. I mean, you look at BMP1, it's like, meh. BMP2 cool. BMP3 is again, it's just kind of, I think it's like the BMP1. Very much has just got like a bigger gun on. But what's really cool about the BMP2 is the automatic cannon here, and they do try engaging aircraft with it as well. And it's got a optically tracked kind of missile on the top there as well, which is just a cool piece of kit. So I'll put in another one of those. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that. So 2 tanks and 2 APCs. but set to not stop. It's less units than what were in the previous group, but again the units are harder to kill. They require more direct hits with bombs, more direct hits with rockets if you can hit them with rockets, or kind of missiles to kill them. So, you know, I'm just again, it's like a natural progression in the wave. So I'm going to call this group A31, and then what I'm going to do is, to be an arsewipe, is put in a group 3A2, so it spawns in two groups at once coming from different directions, because, you know. Right, okay, so let's click no, delete, edit, and copy. I'm going to put these in behind this group over here. Again, like I said, this isn't going to be the most interesting or most thrilling of videos, but if you like mission building and getting ideas on how to do stuff, then that's all fine. So this is group 5A2. Okay. And then what we want to do is then maybe put in two more, so have, yeah, okay. Just thinking on the best ways of doing this with there being two units. What I might do is just have two possibilities of two units. So we'll set this group here and we'll call this group A5B, B1. Another one down over this way. Group is called 5B2. 2B2. Thank you. Right, okay, so on this one, it'll only be 50-50 chance. So it'll be a 50 chance of either these two spawning or those two spawning, but it's going to create two groups coming in from different directions. And they're going to be slightly harder to kill. In fact, what I might do is make up the groups of A's and B's different, so it's not two columns of exactly the same. So I might, these ones I might change. This to air defense. Yeah. I might put on an added unarmed, not Maz, Kamaz, that's the one. So a truck on the back. So this one's got a 375 and with a CSU and a truck on the back. I might do that with the other group 2, which was, that was group SB1. 5, group 1, group A2, right, okay. So I might do the same with these guys as change you to air defense. That's where it comes in. Yep. I might do the 6, put 2 of those on. There we go. Yeah. So that one's going to be a bit more of a bugger to kill. But happy with that. In fact, just checked off those group names. That's all good so far. Happy with that. Right. So that's 5 groups in. What I might do now is put in another group. And what's really good about using these late activations is that you don't have all of the units in the mission at the same time. So even though it looks like there's quite a few units on the ground, there's only ever going to be a few units active at any one time, and what that means is that it's much less server load. It doesn't have to think about the active units that are on the ground. So you can kind of really pile on the units into an area, but it's not going to kill the mission. If all of these units were active at the same time, it'd have a massive impact on the server, on your frames and everything like this. But by doing late activations and using triggers to activate them, you can really kind of spread them out and put in more units than what you normally could. So group 6, I'm going to put in an individual convoy that's going to be much bigger, I think. So let's go with this. So this is group 6 now, isn't it? So ground units. Somewhere new for them to come in from. Trying to find roads here, because a lot of these towns for some reason don't have roads going into them. They're really cut off. I don't want to do anything kind of south of the river if I can help it. Although these guys start south of the river slightly, which can't really be helped. But it would be nice if there was a road kind of coming down or through here, but there's not. These guys have roads. These guys do have roads. Okay, I might put a unit in here. Call this group 6. So it's an hour and a half to kill this unit, which is okay actually. In fact, yeah. Around 45 for these guys to get here. What I'm going to do is build this unit, this convoy up to make it a bit harder to kill, a bit bigger. So we'll stick some T-72s on the front. 2 of those, then an APC, still in armoured in fact, isn't it? Yeah, BTR is a good unit to use. So I might put in a air defence shilker, because shilkers are a pain in the bum when you get too close to them. And then some of those Kamazes, because, you know, troop carriers and supply carriers, you can't go wrong with those. Put 4 of those in. Another APC maybe, or maybe another air defence. Let's have a think. What can we stick air defence wise on this? Depends how cruel and unusual you really want to be. Do you want to be cruel and unusual, or do you want to be really cruel and unusual? I think Osas and Tunguskas come for much of the later ones. Strellas are, yeah. I think it's about time. Put a Strela in there, and then Unit 10 we'll put in another T-72 maybe on there. So that's 10 units there. So you got 2 tanks, APC, Shilka, 4 trucks, a Strela, because, you know, who doesn't like infrared infrared kind of guided missiles coming at you, and another tank at the back. So that is going to be a real pain in the bum to kill. That's going to be really hard to get close to, so you'll have to kind of concentrate Mavericks on that. You might be able to kill these guys with like a lucky rocket attack or something, which will stop the unit. I'm not going to set these guys to stop, so that you can stop them. I think is probably the best for this group. But then with the next group I might set them to oh, hi Grizz. Grizz has just come on the chat saying I hate Strellas. Everybody hates Strellas. I don't think there's anybody out there that actually likes Strellas. So what I'm going to do is just actually directly copy this group. So I'll put this as group A. And then I might copy these into a different place so that there's a chance of it coming in from different routes. Because again, if it's always coming in from the same route, then you always know kind of where it's attacking from. Oops. So I'll put this guy here, and then we'll cover like all this point in the triggers, which will be coming up soon. Happy with that. And then I might set a third group. I'll set these to B, and then the third group coming down from over here. Okie dokie. Interesting copy. Why not? so that's an hour and a half. That's fine. Keep forgetting to put these guys onto late activation. 6C. C. Cool. Right. La 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 la. Okay, happy with that. So then we've got the group 6, which is kind of like a much bigger convoy setup. Then for group 7, I might actually set 7 as the final wave. I was thinking about 7 or 8. I think this has kind of come to a good natural position here, so I could set the next group, which would be group 7 up, having kind of way more tanks, kind of something more heavily. I mean, Strella's bad. I mean, Strella's nasty, but I could put some stuff in there that would really kind of make you think about it. So I might make this the last ground group. Although I'll probably play the mission with some friends, see kind of how it works out. I think this is going to take a good couple of hours to complete, easy. Maybe even more than that. On the Defend Gory mission that I built before, which wasn't random, I think we got 5 groups in about 4 hours. So 6, you're looking, at a good mission length with just these kind of 6 groups. But we'll put one last group in, I think, which will be a really shite convoy to kill, and then we'll figure that out from there. So I might put this group kind of coming in back from down here. Let's call this group 7. 7A. This is kind of like the most creative part of it, I guess, is just kind of creating the units on the ground. And then the fun comes in then kind of building all on the triggers to make it look and work properly, which is what we'll get into kind of momentarily. So we'll put these groups down. I guess I'll put group 7 as the last kind of big ground group, although I might flesh this out maybe. I'll see how it plays out, and then I'll have a think about it, and then we'll start kind of playing with triggers. In fact, what I need to do is put this on road. So that's an hour and 15. Okay, so I'll do is have 40 90s at the front, 2 BMP2s, air defense, Tunguska. It's going to be nasty. Some undefendeds, like some trucks. Yeah, sorry, that's right. 4. Another air defense unit. Tor, I don't think will fire on a move. I think Tor has to fire to move, but Tors are really nasty. Tors are kind of in the realm of go fuck you in the face. Same with Osas are really nasty. Strellas are pretty nasty, but Osas are proper nasty. That's really make you think about it territory. Tunguskas, they fire infrared guided missiles out of these bad boys, I believe, but then they've also got the radar guided guns, so they're as close in defense. They're proper nasty. Tors are next level nasty. These things, I mean, they shoot down Mavericks, for Christ's sake. You fire a Maverick at a Tor, it just laughs at you, shoots down your Maverick, and then says, yeah, what's next, baby? So I mean, we can't put SA-11s and things like that down because they're just too. I guess it's going to have to be an OSA, isn't it? It's going to be an OSA. Okay, an OSA. And then we'll end this with and then maybe 2 more kind of T90s bringing up the rear. So that's 16 units. That's a hellish group. And personally, I think that's going to be for Harriers, because I'm mainly going to be building this for the 504 who fly Harriers. This is hell. This is going to be a hellish convoy to stop. because it's going to take massive coordination. You can maybe use sidearms against the O3 if it lights up its radar. Sidearms don't work against. In fact, I think they do work against Tunguskers. They don't work against Shilkers because the radar doesn't stay active long enough or doesn't activate as you're kind of close enough. So Shilkers don't work with sidearms. I think Tunguskers might do if they turn their thing on red. In fact, what I could do with these is set the alarm state to red. What the alarm state does is it makes them alert at all times, like ready to fight. So if their alarm state is green, the unit will be traveling along with like the units unbuttoned. It's like on the tanks and things like that. They travel along, as you can see here, with units with their heads popped out, and they're just kind of at ease. If you set them to alarm state red, they close up, button up. The SAM systems switch on their radars and actively start tracking and searching. The Shilka unfolds its radar and points its guns up and things like that. So they just get ready to fight. Really, is kind of what their main purpose there is. So yeah, by setting them to alarm state red, they'll activate kind of as soon as they spawn in, rather than activating when they come under attack or get threatened. So yeah, that's fun. So we'll set them to alarm state red. So what that also means maybe is that they'll come up on the RWR much sooner. In fact, I might set a thing to get them to come down. Trying to think of these roads. Yeah, I'll let them come in from. I'll get them coming in down this side rather than that side, I think. Yeah. Right, now what we'll do is I'll I did name that probably, didn't I? That group 7B. B. Late activations on, that's fine. Might do with this one effect as well. Make it look a bit different. The makeup's still the same, but then you've got some artillery units in the middle instead of trucks. Okay. Cool, so I'm happy with that as being the ground units. To work over with Harriers, it's going to take a lot of kind of coordinated teamwork, a lot of effort, a lot of kind of sense, I suppose, because if you're orbiting south of Gori, or if you're kind of, when these spawn in, if you're close to them when those Strellas come in, that's going to be pretty gnarly. In fact, didn't think about that. That could be yeah, you're going to have to be pretty switched on for that. Okay, happy with that. So as for ground units, I'm kind of happy with how they're set out there. What I might do now is actually, in fact, while I'm thinking about it, put in some Russian defense aircraft. So I'll put in ZAs. Excellent. ×2. Take off ramp. Late activation. L-39s in close combat against Harriers is a really fun fight. it's crazy how much of a fun fight they are. Yeah, Russian Splinter Camo Woodland. That's a really nice skin, actually. I like that a lot. Cool. Blah, blah. Right, okay, now what we'll do is put. Is there an air-to-air mix on this already? No. Okay, so we'll do new. Can't type. Yeah. Okay, and then we'll put 2 of those in. Parking. 15. So we've got some 10,000 peaks around here. So that's 12,000. So got for 15,000. I'm going to set up a combat patrol with L-39s here. So what we'll do is go advanced cow. In fact, perform task in orbit. Racetrack at 7,000. Let's set speed 3,300. Okay, so what we've got is a search then engage. So they're going to search this kind of area. For no, I'm going to get rid of that. Add. Return to set en route task. Search engage. It's not really close. I suppose it is close. I suppose isn't it? Close. Cap. Yeah. Okay. Cas is fine. Okay, so we've got them orbiting in a racetrack pattern at 7,000. So what they'll do is that they'll orbit between 3 and 4, and then they'll 3, 4. Actually, get rid of that. Yeah. Okay, so then they'll orbit between 3 and 4 until the bingo, and then they'll go home. So that's I can set kind of like stage different aircraft things coming in at different points. Yeah, okie dokie. Placing in some ground units here. Station. Okay, yeah. Let's do that for now. Right. Let's put in some friendly aircraft, because we'll need to have friendly aircraft in there for the triggers to work as well. Because we need kind of coalitions in zones and things like this. So we'll put in our aircraft now. So just trying to think if I need to do anything else in this part now. Okay. So we'll set Vaziani to blue. Do this mainly for the Harriers. You can swap out the aircraft. A-10s maybe work in this sort of scenario as well. I might actually hold down this end. So in fact, what I might do is group 1. Nice favour foreskin there. Okay, I might leave them unarmed so you can choose your own loadouts at the start, rather than kind of put things on. Then what we also need to do actually is set the channels here as well. So Vaziani is 140. I'm actually write this down, so I'm going to have to do this probably a few times. 140, and then I'll also have 251. So we'll go radios. 140, 251. Now with the Harrier, when programming in the radios, in the cockpit, radio 2 in the mission editor is radio 1 or com 1 in the cockpit, and radio 1 is radio 2 in the cockpit, just to confuse the fucking shit out of you. So when you're putting in the radio frequencies, you need to put com 1 into com 2. Com 2 in the cockpit doesn't work, so you can't put anything on radio 1. So the frequencies in here don't matter because that radio doesn't work in cockpit, whereas radio 2, which is com 1, does work. Go figure that out. Right, okay, so 251 is what I'm going to be using for the AWACS and tankers, and then 140 is the runway anyway, so that's all fine. Not going to be needing NVGs, that's all fine there. Cool, that's all good, right, so we'll set the waypoints of this anyway. So we've got takeoff from ramp, we'll go 1, coming off of 74, okay. And we'll set waypoints for these guys, we'll set waypoint 1 is the IP here, we'll set those 5,000. Okay, this is player controlled, so the waypoints there are just kind of basically to aid navigation going out to target. So we'll have waypoint here as the IP, so when you go IP inbound, you switch off your lights, master arms on, things like this. Waypoint 2 will be the holding point, which is Gory, so they'll always know kind of where Gory is. So they can orbit maybe south of that point using that as a reference, and then kind of get their attack directions to go and kill the units that spawn in there as well. So we'll copy this group and then make another one just so there's more of them, and then we'll call this group 2, and then we'll sort that parking out, so we'll put 75. Yeah, there we go. Trying to think. Right, so the radio's copied over there, so we've got 251 and 140, which is fine. Even though I suppose channel 10 is 140 on there as well, so it's okay having it on channel 1. But yeah, actually, in fact, let's make sure that waypoints are similar. So when you copy and paste units, their waypoints never end up kind of in the same place. So it's good to put them in the same place for references. Yeah. Right, now what we need to do is place some trigger zones down, so that we can kind of use trigger zones and things to start the missions. I'll also put an AWACS in the KC-130, I'll do that in a second. Create trigger zones, we'll put a trigger zone here. We'll call this mission start. Make the radius, let's see, 15. Blue. Okay, so now we'll put that as mission start. So what I like to do is, because getting everybody organised at the start of a mission is a real pain in the arse. You know, kind of getting loaded, briefings, getting everybody in and stable, things like this. You can set it so that when one of these flights, or if part of the coalition enter the mission start zone, then that'll spawn in the first group of units. So we'll do that, and then what we'll do is also put in another trigger zone. Trigger zone, please. Alright, there we go. New trigger zone, we'll call this mission end. And we'll call this one red. And then what we'll do is maybe call this Udeki, yeah. Okay, so what we'll do with this one is mission end, so that if any of these units here, in fact, yeah, okay, we'll leave that there. So if any red units cross into this mission area, then that's mission end. You'll get a mission up saying, you know, they've taken Gory, Gory's been taken by the enemy, something like that. Mission's over. Righty, okay. And in fact, while I remember, I will put in an AWACS. Place it down first, that would help, wouldn't it? E2, Hawkeye, why not? Hawkeyes are always good, and they work well with Harriers. So we've got got a Hawkeye down doing AWACSy things. So we'll set him there at 20,300. We'll have him going kind of straight away, so we'll put oops. Yeah, he should be out of any sort of threat kind of back here anyway, so he shouldn't get challenged. What we'll do is have him landing at Tbilisi, so landing. And we go to his waypoint 1, advanced, add, from task orbit, racetrack at 300, 20,000 feet. Cool, so now the way he's set there is that he'll fly to waypoint 1, waypoint 2, and he'll just keep orbiting between those two paths, kind of doing AWACS. So when the L-39 spawn in, when I tell them to, or if what I might do is set them that when a certain unit dies, or when a group dies, we'll spawn in those. Then when they die, the MiG-21 spawn in, and then I might put in a third unit, maybe like MiG-23, something like that. Just kind of like upping the air threat a bit. MiG-29s might be a bit too much for Harriers, but you know, depends how much of a bastard you really want to be. So when when that happens, we'll put those in. Yeah, okay, and then the AWACS will tell you about that. What we can do actually is, just to be safe, is make a redundancy and put in a second group. And then put this on late activation, and we'll call this AWACS number 2. And then with that, what we can do is, on late activation, we can say if this one dies, or if he lands, or becomes deactivated in any sort of way, that'll then spawn in the second AWACS. So that's handy. And then what we'll also do, in fact, is put in a KC-130. So, okay, close. I might have these guys a bit closer, in fact. Trying to think, in fact, because we've got Stralis and that, if we have him here, he's going to get messed up a bit. So I need to find a safe place for the KC-130 to actually kind of do what he needs to do. Fueling KC-130, high, yep. Set him at 15,300. Thinking. Takes a lot of brain power trying to figure some of this stuff out, I'll tell you. Flying from Tbilisi. Southwest at 15. So he's lower than the AWACS, so they won't hit each other at all. I'll have them kind of going east-west around this point as well. So if you're kind of over here and you're waiting for targets, you're low on fuel, but you've still got weapons. What's the racetrack length there? Actually, let's have a look at that. We could set it to 30 miles, so I might shorten it off a bit. It's 32, that's fine. Certainly got 30 mile kind of legs of backs and forwards south. So these guys also have TACANs now as well, in fact. So if we go at the start, so he's now on TACAN group 1X. So Harry will be able to find the KC-130 on TACAN. That's something that actually came in on the last patch, which is really kind of handy. I've not checked it to see if it works. Hopefully it does, but you can put in a mission briefing that tankers on 1X, and it'll give you bearing to the tanker, so you can find it that way as well if you need to. So he's not a million miles away, halfway away from there, so he's only 12 miles south doing orbit, so he should be pretty easy to find. And what we'll do is we'll also set up a second one of these guys on a late activation, so if the first one dies, then it'll spawn in the second one. Yeah, happy with that. So let's actually start getting into the triggers and sorting out the triggers. I suppose I can sort this guy's out. I'll leave him, so we've got a bit of a longer run in there anyway. Let's start sorting out these triggers so that the game actually kind of works properly. And this is the fun part. This is where kind of all of the mistakes can happen, because if you get a trigger wrong and you don't figure this out right, then the whole mission won't work. So triggers are on this, you've got like a switch symbol, and that brings up this, and then this is where you start kind of figuring out all of the triggers, and this is where kind of all of the brain power comes in. Right, okay, so let's have a look. So we'll make this mission start trigger. Now what we want is new. We want part of coalition in zone, so part of coalition blue, so it will be under P. So we've got not part of group, part of coalition in zone in blue in mission start. New, and then what we want to do is have in fact new random 05, don't we? Flag is false, new random. So I forgot there's 3. Yeah, if you're just having one group spawn, you can do once part of coalition in zone kind of spawn group 1, but I've just kind of remembered that we're doing this randomly, so we've got 3 groups to spawn in on point 1. So what we now need to do is use flags and randomizers to spawn in one of these 3 groups. So the way that you do that is that you set the condition is part of coalition in zone. Flag 1 is false, so what this does is that this stops multiple groups from spawning in, because you can set a rule that if you've spawned in a unit, you can make a flag true. So once a flag comes true, it won't do anything else. Now, this is kind of like the most important part of the whole random part, is the use of flags and random. So if you don't have flags and random, and you don't use the flags properly, when you hit the point, every unit will just spawn in. You know, because that's the condition that you've set. So then we'll go group activate. I'm probably not explaining this very well. If you want a better explanation, or if you think I need to explain something better, please hit me up on the chat and let me know. Group activate, and then we want group 1A. Okay, and then what we'll also do is put in a message to all, and then we'll type in, we can kind of spam this out, so we'll put this up to 30 seconds, and then you can put a message saying enemy unit spotted approaching from the west, something like that. So I can't type very well, by the way. I do it for a living, but you know, units. We'll put the first ones in a guard, didn't we? So there we are. So the first unit is actually telling you they're coming from Agara, which is in the west, and it's recon unit. So the first one's going to be kind of quite clear. There's a message going to come up saying that there's units coming in from Agara. So then, you know, if you know the area, you check your map or something, you see Agara, and you're like, right, okay, they're coming from there. I know what I'm doing now anyway. So, and then what I like to do on all of these is put RE 5. Right, okay, so then that's the message that comes in. What you can also put in as well, which is quite cool, is sound to all. Sound to all. You can do sound to coalitions, sound to group, things like this, but seeing as this is a co-op mission, there's nothing wrong with kind of doing sound to all. And then if we go to sounds, where are we? We want... There's a good group of messages that come out. I just need to bloody find them. Groups. So this is AWACS calls, isn't it? Let's have a look. All of the messages that you hear in game come from these sound files, which are in kind of this file location. There is some really good ones that kind of say from the west, from the east, things like this. I think shooter under AWACS. Let's have a look at this. No bullseye cold. The first group flanking. Not going to be under digits, is it? Sorry about this, guys. I'm just... here we go. Yeah, here they are. Okay, so now we've got from the west.
From the west.
So then you'll get an audible kind of from the west come up, along with the message. Yeah. Now, I've not figured out how to stack these. It's one thing I'd like to be able to do is kind of like, say, group coming from the west. But all I can get it to do is put from the west in. If I put in more than one sound file, it doesn't play any. I don't know what I'm doing wrong there. I need to look more into that. But from the west does the job. You've got the message there as well, and it's activating group 1. And then what we can do there, also I need to, forgot about this, is put in flag 1 on. Okay. So what this does is that at the start of the mission, this kind of comes active. The condition is there's part of the blue coalition in the mission start zone. Flag 1 is false, so no other units have been spawned in on or activating a false 1. There's a random chance of this happening. And it activates group 1A, there's a message to all, sound to all, and then the flag becomes active. Because the flag becomes active, no other actions will take place under this condition. So then what we'll do is that we'll clone this again, same things here, flag 1 false random 5, but then what we want to do is activate group 1B, who are coming from the north, so we'll change this sound to all to from the north. And then we'll change this approaching from, we put them in Tinks Valley, didn't we? Coming from that's a proper mouthful, isn't it? To the north. Right, okay, so there we go. Quick change on the trigger there. It's generally the same thing. Enemy units kind of spawning in from the north. The sound to all, flag 1 becomes on. And then that activates group 1B. And then what we'll do is clone that again. Same conditions here is all fine. And then we'll put this onto 1C. And then we'll change the message because they're coming from the east. I think we put them southeast, and we'll put them down over here. Yep, here we go. And they're in this town name, Igoti. My pronunciation of things sucks. I'll blame that to dyslexia. To the east. We'll change the sound to from the east. Okay, and then flag 1 becomes on. So now the condition here is, and I'll just show this now, is that when a blue unit enters this zone, one of these units will spawn in, and it's because the random things there and the flags set on flag 1, only one of the 3 units will spawn in. So I'll just kind of prove this is happening now. I'll set a we'll set, what's faster tornado, flying into the zone at 600. Okay, so we'll set him here. He's flying pretty quick towards that zone anyway. Okay, and then we'll just kind of show that this happening anyway. So we'll allow file save as. Should have done this before. Defend Gory random. Oh, Cass. Oh, Christ. Yeah, it's because I copied them from the Cass cap. It's fine, isn't it? Cap. Ah, right. Okay. There it goes. Flag the delete. Okay, that should be fine now. Cool, safe, right, okay. So it told me that there was a problem with one of the triggers, that MiG-21s can't do CAS. Fair enough. Happy with that. Right, okay, so now we'll start this in. So this is just to kind of show how those triggers work. Now the more complex triggers come in spawning units when units die, because you can't say when this unit dies, spawn this unit, because it's random to that sort of degree. So what we need to do is say if this unit dies, or this unit dies, or this unit dies, then spawn this unit, or this unit, or this unit, or this unit. You see, this is kind of where it starts going all a bit more kind of bizarre. So we've got this tornado flying into the trigger zone. When that hits the trigger zone, it will then randomly spawn one of the 3 units in group 1. At least that's kind of what we want to happen. So it'll be hitting the trigger zone pretty shortly. It's travelling pretty damn quick. Wow. He says. From the east. Yep, there we go. So we've got from the east. Spawned in the recon unit coming in from the east, and as you can see, because of the flags and the randomness, we only got 1 unit coming in. So if we actually quit and then hit fly again, this time because, you know, randomness, we should get a different unit spawning in. So I just want to make sure that the randomness is working. So we'll go spectators, F10. What we can actually do is speed it up. Oh, I've got Eastern unit again. Meh, it's supposed to be random. Give me random. I had to check the, set the random thing to low, so that's fine. So F10. Come on, give me a different unit this time. Excuse me. Laws of Random is probably going to do this one again, isn't it?
From the north.
From the north. There we go. So that's random tricks. So we got 2 from the east, 1 from the north. But yeah, they're now spawned in, and they'll kind of move down towards Gory. And when they get there, we'll set the trigger for mission failure. But yeah, that's kind of how the randomness works. So when a condition is met, it will randomly spawn one of those 3 units. So every time that you play this, when you get to Gory and the mission starts, things can work out in a completely different sequence. So you're never playing the same mission twice. I guess there's so many kind of different combinations with all of the units that are there. Someone could probably quickly do the math and tell you what how many kind of units that's going to take. Or how many kind of different combinations there are with the units that are there. I don't know. I'm no good at math, but it's going to be a lot. Right, okay, so now what we need to do is set the triggers for if when group units 1A, 1B and 1C die, sorry, so 1A, B and C die, we then need to randomly spawn groups 2A, B or C. So now this is where the real fun comes in with the triggers. Right, okay, so what we're going to actually do is create a new trigger. Now with this we're going to be using the OR. So with the OR you set a condition of, in fact I guess that we could, yeah, let's actually clone this one and we'll set it from this. So what we want to do, we don't want part of coalition in zone, we want unit dead. And then we'll set unit dead to, in fact no, not unit dead, we want group dead, don't we? Group A, B, C, D, E, F, G, yep, G, group dead. Group dead 1A. Flag, do we want to use flags on this? Actually that's the thing, I guess we do. Flag 2 is false. Random chance 5, activate group 2A. We'll change the messages and the sounds, everything in a bit. And then we need to actually set this one to flag 2 now, don't we? So that would be, so flag 2 is false. When the event occurs, it'll activate flag 2, so then no other kind of event will occur. But then what we need to do with this is now set, so group 1A is dead, the flag is false and there's a random chance. We then go OR, and then we need to then repeat the sequence, so it's we then go new, group is dead, which would be group 1B, and then we set new flag is false on flag 2, new random to 5%, because the reason you set this to 5% is that there's a very low chance of an individual like trigger firing. If there was a high random chance, it wouldn't kind of roll the dice so many times. With I got this from the mission builder's guide, that a 5% random chance is what you need for a completely random chance of something happening. I've just gone with that, and it works. So group 1 is dead, group 1A is dead, or group B is dead, or and then we'll repeat the same sequence again. So it's group dead, group 1C is dead, new flag is A, B, C, D, E, F. Yep, 1F flag is false on flag 2, and random chance of 5. If you don't repeat the same sequence under each or, it will just kind of take that as, like if you just put here, either this happens or, then whatever in here happens or whatever in here happens. So all of these need to be repeated. So that the thing here is, if group 1A dies or group 1B dies or group 1C dies, then activate group 2A, and then kind of do the sequence here. We then repeat this and then say, if these units die, then do this, or if any of these units dies, then do this. So that's kind of how the random trigger works, from one of multiple units dying into spawning one of multiple units. I know it's kind of hard to describe how it works, but that is kind of how it works. I hope I'm kind of making sense here. If I'm not, I apologize. But honestly, this is kind of what you need to do to get one of multiple units dying to spawn one of multiple units in a random chance sort of thing. You can also put in a random chance of nothing happening. I've made a patrol mission. I'll maybe kind of show that later, where you fly a route patrol, and every time you hit a trigger zone, there's a random chance of something happening. And there's random chance of different units spawning in, different events happening, like a request for like a show of force over a patrol base, or there's a random chance of just nothing happening at all. So you can fly through the trigger zone, nothing happens at all, you continue on your patrol, you hit another trigger zone, then like a patrol comes under attack, and then you have to go and give close air support to that patrol, and then you continue on your patrol, and it kind of keeps going like that. So every time you do the patrol, something different happens. I'll show you that later, maybe, just to kind of show how the triggers in that are working. So yeah, what we need to do actually is find group 2A. Where did we put group 2A? Let's have a look, because I can't remember. Group 2A. Okay, so they're to the northeast in Zaveri, which is probably pronounced really, really badly. So group 2A, I'll put this enemy convoy, enemy. We'll put this enemy. Like I said, I can't type for shit. We'll put the place name in on group 2 as well, just to kind of get people in there, but then later on we'll start giving more and more vague information. So then it becomes a lot harder to kind of find the units on the ground. Enemy patrol spotted coming from very east. And then we'll change the sound here to from the... In fact, it's not northeast, it's northwest. I'm going to be
from the northwest.
North. Some of you who kind of watch a lot of the videos that I do will probably know I have real problems with directions when it comes to flying. After I flew that P-51 kind of all the way around the Caucasus, and I ended up flying the first 15 minutes in the wrong direction. Yeah. That's main direction. Draw spot coming from. So Australia in the northwest. Okay, that's short, simple, to the point. You get a position of kind of what's coming and from where. Yeah. And I'm happy with kind of everything on there. Group activate. Right. Okay. And what we'll do is that we'll then clone it. These are all fine. These don't need changing, and then we'll just change this to group 2B. Which was where was group 2B? Okay, Carby in the north. Message troll, enemy troll spotted coming from. And then the flag set, that's all set fine there. Okay, so now then the last one is just to clone this, and then we'll do group 2C. This is why it's important to name all of your units, so that when you're doing the triggers and things like this, you kind of know where they're coming from. Now, which one? Let's have a look for Group 2. See. So this one's northeast, isn't it? What the hell is this place, town name thing called? Anything? Okay. So now you're not giving me place names, are you? There's no town name here. Zerty. I suppose I could say from the east of Zerty. Literally do not know. There's a town here, but I do not know what it's called. Let's say from the east of Zerty. That's going to really mess people up, isn't it? But hell, it'll do the job. Patrol spotted coming from. From the northeast.
From the northeast.
Cool. Right. Okay. So that's groups dead in Group 1. Activate random groups in Group 2. Cool. Right. Okay. So now what we'll do is that we'll just demonstrate this kind of working. Let's have a look. So we'll save this. Yep. Yep. In fact, what we need to do is let's do something a bit random here. So we'll put a 64 Ds. I just want to show these triggers working, start to work. Hi Brian. So if Group 1B dies, he's asked, so if Group 1B dies, couldn't it spawn all of Group 2? I don't get that part. Well, what I've done is set it so that if Group 1B dies, it will spawn either Group 2A, 2B, or 2C. I'll see if I can demonstrate this now, actually. So I'll just kind of put these units in and around where the units are going to spawn in, so that they will hopefully attack and kill. Close export. Spawn those units as they come in. Might do in fact is put a quick blue tank down there. That's in mission start, so that'll kind of spawn and get things off straight away. I just want to put these units in so that the units on the ground get killed straight away, just to demonstrate the triggers working. Okay, right. So let's now start this, just to show how these triggers work. So let's watch this in F10. So there's
From the east.
okay, so now this unit's spawned in from the east. These A10 should then pick them up and wipe them out, or run into trees and get killed. Come on, do some murdering. Are you going to do some murdering, or just let them go? Not going to do any murdering, apparently. Ah, yes, they are, yeah. Now they're doing the murderings. H64s are so cool. I so want these to be flyable in game. So they all dead. Okay, so there's one of these. So once one of these units dies, it will then randomly spawn in one of the units from Group 2. Here comes the last Hellfire. Skadoosh. Right. So now all those units are dead, it will randomly spawn in one of Group 2 somewhere on the map.
From the north.
There you go. So now one of Group 2 has now randomly been spawned in from the north. So we could run this again. It may spawn in a different unit. It's spawned in from these 3 times there. That's just, you know, random logic for you. So then it spawned in group 2 from the north. So if we actually kind of quit out of this and then hit fly again, a different sequence of events should happen, hopefully. This is kind of how the triggers are set to work. So we then go bang, then we'll watch this from here, so we'll speed this up. There we go, so now we've got one from the west, which should then get killed by these AH-64s, I hope. We'll speed this up just to kind of ease it along. There you go, so now they're engaging. Let's kick them. Come on, you've got guns and rockets and shit, kill them. Or not. I guess they like having a bit of distance before they go and kill them. Are you going to kill him? Please kill him. Some of these AI, I tell you, they're marvellous. Please don't kill yourself. Ah, there you go. Now he's engaging and flying in and around trees because, you know. That was an interesting launch. One left, okay. So now when this Hellfire hits, this group will be done, and then it should then randomly spawn in another unit of group 2. So they're all done now. The trigger logic will think about it for a second, and then a random unit from group 2 will spawn in. Or it'll spawn in the same group from the north because, you know, 2 fingers up to you, son. Right, okay. Yeah, it will work. It will randomly spawn in a unit. I want to do it again just to see if we get a different unit because, you know, I want to prove it works. Please work. Okay, so now we've got a unit in from the north. So the first random logic's working. We're getting different units in from different directions now anyway. Hopefully these guys will circle around and then decide to start killing these guys. Anytime you're ready. They take almost as long as I do to decide when to actually kill something. Speed us up some more. Right, okay, so that's all of them dead. Let's see if we get one from a different direction now. So if we get another one from the north, something may be broken. Anytime you're ready. Ah, there we go. Yeah, it did work. So now we've got one from the west. Yay! So that's the triggers working. It just randomly spawned in twice from the north. I guess it did that last time when it spawned in 2 randomly from the east. So now we've got ones randomly spawning in from the west. So the trigger's working just fine now with the random chance of stuff happening. Right, okay, so I'll quit up this. Mission to get rid of these. Okay, so now what we need to do is just kind of complete these triggers really to make things happen. What I might actually do is just rename these. So that's mission start. This is group 1 dead. Just so I know kind of what the triggers are doing. So now that's the 3 triggers there for if units in group 1 die, it will then spawn, you know, randomly one of the units from group 2. So that's kind of how those triggers work. Basically what I'm going to be now is kind of repeating these triggers just to kind of make different things happen. What I did have as well was spawning in 2 groups at once, but that's just basically the same. You just set the rule or the action to be once all of these units die, then activate group 1 and group 2. And then on the next one though, it's a bit more difficult because then you need to say if group 1 and group 2 die, then group do that. But that's fine. You just don't put the or in between. But we'll get to that when we get to that. What I do want to do now is, now that group 2's dead, I want to activate the aircraft. I want to activate group 1 of the aircraft. Right, so let's do that now actually. In fact, what we'll do is that we'll do if group 2, okay, yeah. Right, so we'll actually create a new, so we'll put L39 spawn. And we'll do group, if group is dead, then we'll put group 2A, or group dead, group dead group 2B, or oops, damn it, or yep, no, or new group dead group 2C. So now if group A, B or C die on group 2, so the rule there is if group 2A dies, or group 2B dies, or group 2C dies, do the action of spawn, activate group, activate L39 group 1. Okay, so that's a pretty simple trigger to kind of do that. So this one's just, if any of these conditions happen, activate the L39 group. So now in the mission, when we're flying it, group 1, no issue, you know, as you're kind of killing group 2, as group 2's dead, that'll then spawn the first group of L39s. They'll kind of get ready, they'll taxi out, take off, and then they'll fly their patrol route kind of over this area. Excuse me, and then kind of, you know, start patrolling backs and forwards. And I tell you, L39s, sneaky little feckers. They'll come up right behind you, and then they'll stick one straight up your chuff. Okay, let's have a look. So now we've got group 3, wasn't it? What was group 3? Group 3. Okay, so group 4 was the RT, so group 3 was light armored. Okay, yeah, light armored units. Okay. Okay, so now we'll just kind of repeat the triggers from group 2 into kind of making group 3 come alive. So as group 3 are activating and you're starting to kind of bomb group 3 and get them doing, that should be just as kind of like the L39s are you know, kind of taking off and coming into the area. So the amount of time it takes you to kind of find the group, get ready to attack it and actually kill it, the L39s will just be getting into the area as you're attacking the artillery group, which is group 4. So that actually works out. I'm really kind of happy with how that will work out. Yeah. Okay. So now we'll do the triggers for the next group, which is group 3A. So group 3A is coming from Saskatchewan, from the northwest. What's the difference actually? Kind of about 10 miles from northwest. Okay. So what I'll do is then clone this and move this one down. Now I'll put this into group 2 dead. So what we need to do is just change all of these rules around to kind of group 2A or 2B or 2C. So now the rule is if when either one of group or when group 2A is dead, 2B is dead, or 2C is dead, then we'll activate group 3A, 3 B and 3C. So basically it's just the same trigger, just repeated. But then what we'll do is just kind of change the messages. So we'll put So I'm kind of being a bit more vague in the messages here. It's light enemy armor spotted coming from an area 10 miles northwest of Gory. So it is northwest, it's roughly 10 miles. 10 miles about there, so you'll need to kind of use your situational awareness a bit to say, right, we need to search an area northwest 10 miles. It's not saying, right, it's coming from this town, it's just saying it's coming from this area. What we'll do is that will change the sound to say from the northwest. You can record your own sounds, and I might do that for this mission. I might go in at some point and record my own kind of messages, but for now I'm just putting these on as placeholders.
From the northwest.
So that it also gives you that kind of audio alert, like, ooh, something happened, then you look up at your screen and see the message. Hi Stefan, how you doing there, buddy? Alright. And then actually on these as well, we need to make these all flag 3. Flag on flag 3. Okay, so now this is like a different set of groups, so we're using a different flag. Yeah, it would set this to flag 2 is false. None of them would spawn in, because flag 2 would be true from all of group 2 spawning in, or their logic would actually kind of spawn them in at the same time as group 2, or instead of group 2. So you can use the flag and the logic to actually kind of have a lot of different groups either spawning in at different points. So yeah, that's the flags 3 set for that group. So we'll clone this. These can all stay the same, so if group 2A, 2B or 2C dies, we'll then spawn group 3B. Actually find out where we put group 3B because I can't remember off the top of my head. Okay, so they're kind of from the northeast, kind of north and northeast, I suppose, isn't it? Let's have a look. So they're northeast 10 miles. That works out quite well, doesn't it? So we'll go back into our triggers, come up this one, and then we'll put sorry, message light enemy army unit spotting coming from an area 10 miles to the north east of Gory. And then we'll put did it say from the northeast? No. So northeast it is. It's kind of, I suppose it's more north than northeast, isn't it? I suppose we'll just put north, because northeast you might be searching over kind of this region rather than. It's a difficult one. I think we'll just go kind of north on that one actually, rather than northeast. Actual from the
north.
From the north. I agree. Okay, and then flag 3 on, and then we'll clone this one again. That's all fine. And then group 3C. Find group 3C. So these guys are kind of from the east, aren't they? So I'll say from the east. What's the distance? They 10. They're actually say about 14 miles. From the east. Yes, indeed. Okie dokie. So that's those ones done now. So yeah. Now it's the artillery groups, isn't it? So we've got artillery group 1, 2, and 3. Yeah. So then we'll just kind of repeat the triggers are kind of all very much the same from this point, and it's just kind of changing the different flags and the groups and the messages over. So from this point, it's fairly kind of straightforward. Yeah, can't really kind of go too far wrong from this point. So we'll change this one to group 3 dead, or GRP. Keep it the same. Group 3 dead. Now we'll change these to group 3A or group 3B, 3C, flag 4, flag 4, and then group activate would be artillery, group 4A artillery. Now we'll change the message, so say from the west. Yeah.
From the west.
That's fine. So blah 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 blah, and then flag on 4. So flag on 4. That's all fine now. Okay, so that was the first artillery group. Now it's the northern one and the eastern one, isn't it? Just actually check this. RT, North RT, East RT. Cool. Blah 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 blah. So Dave Flute said, can you roll a 1, 2 or 3 rather than a 5%? The 5% will loop until it occurs calling load on the system. I've never really kind of noticed a load in doing this. I've never noticed a stutter or anything like this. It just kind of rolls until it happens. You can up the percentage chance to like a 50, and then it happens sooner. But then you can also, it kind of makes the first unit spawn in repeatedly. Yeah, I keep running random 5 because I know it works. You know, it does make it very random as to which one spawns in. Yeah, I guess this is kind of the only way of really making it roll a 1, 2 or 3. Because if you up the percentage chance, even though you put the percentage chance kind of equal, it's still kind of rolling the dice. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but I know this works, so I kind of roll with it. There may be better ways of doing this, but this is kind of how I found that works. Yeah. Sounds like it's coming from the north. Open from the north. Flag 4 on. Now we'll clone this again, and then it's just simply of group 4C, changing this from the east. Yeah, okay, so that's now the RT kind of group sorted out now. What I might actually do, now there's 2 ways with the MiG-21s I could do this. So if I had a setting them so that when the L-39s die, it spawns in the MiG-21s. Or I could do it kind of now saying that when one of these artillery units spawns, then spawn in the MiG-21s. But then potentially you could have L-39s and MiG-21s kind of patrolling the area if you didn't already take care of the L-39s, but I think that's a risk I'm going to take. So what we'll do is just do a new trick, and then we'll call this MiG-21 spawn. And then we'll go new if unit group dead, artillery group A, or new group dead, group B, or new group artillery group C. So if A, B or C die, then new group group activate MiG-21 group 1. Okay, yay, there we go. So now what we've done is that when the artillery die, the MiG-21 group will spawn. They again will take time to kind of spawn in, spool up, start up, get airborne, kind of fly to the patrol route. So by the time that you've probably dealt with most of group 5, which is the group that's going to be coming in pairs, then a MiG-21 should be arriving. So yeah, that's cool. So let's do the triggers for this now. So In fact, what we need to do is kind of find, because group 5 is the one that's coming in pairs. So group 5-1 from the west and from the north. And we've got B1 is from the north and from the east. So there's only kind of 50-50 chance on these. It's not not 3 groups. It's 2 groups of 2 rather than 3 groups of 1. But yeah, I'm okay with that. Right, okay, so now we'll do the trigger. So we'll clone this one, and then we'll change this all across to group 4A artillery or group 4B or group RT4C, and then we'll change these triggers up to 5. Oh, sorry, the flag's up to 5. Flag 5 on activate group would be 5. A1 and group activate group 5 and group 5A2. So put that up there. So
Ground targets.
yeah, we'll run this one because they're coming from multiple directions. So yeah, again, it's just an audible alert, like a placeholder at this point anyway, to say that there's units coming in. So this is when any of those artillery groups die, it'll then activate group 5A and 5A1 and 5A2, and then we'll just need to kind of write the message. Right, okay, and then we just clone this. Call this group. That's group 4, isn't it? Group 4. And then we'll change this one to group 5A, 5B1, and 5B2. And then this one's from the north and from the east. Groups approaching from the. That wasn't east, was it? That was west on that one. East and west, I tell you, getting them proper muddled up from the north and the east. Okay, that all looks good. Okay, happy with that. Right. Yeah. Cool. Then we'll do the same for group 5. 5 dead, and then now we'll do the chance of group 6 coming in. So group 6. Let's have a look at you. 6A. That's from the northeast. Northeast. Okay, so now we'll do group. So now what we need to do is also add group. So we've got group 5A1 and 2. Delete, delete. And then on this one that would be group 51B, new. Group dead. Group 5B2. Okay, so now what we've done is that both groups have to be dead. So group 5A1 has to be dead and group 5A2 has to be dead. The flag is false, which would be flag 6 now. So flag 6 is false. Random chance of now this happening, so then we'll delete this. It'll be group activate group 6A. So a message would be armored units. West. Getting confused even more. Okay, cool. That's good. So now, like I said on this, when both group 5A1 and 5A2 die, or 5B1 and 5B2 die, it'll then activate group 6A, which will then come in from there. Group 6B was from, let's have a look, group 6B from the north, and then group 6C was from the east, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so group 6B from the north. Okay, so then we'll clone this. Group 6B. Let's change this from the north. Changes to from the north, and flag 6 on. Okay, and then we'll clone this again, and then that would be flag 6C from the east. Okay, I think that's all okay. That's looking good there, right? Okay, so that's all of group 6 sorted out. And then the last group, I think, was group 7, wasn't it? Group 7 was the last group that we put in. It was, yeah, cool, right. So then this is the last trigger sequence. Wow, we're nearly there. So what we'll actually do is group 4, yeah, we'll clone this one. Don't want to override it. 2, 3. Don't think I actually cloned it. Or am I missing something? Group 3. Because there should be 3 of those. So clone. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, that's clone now. Cool. Didn't want to mess up one of these. 1, 2, 3. That's right. 1, 2, 3. That's right. Okay. Cool. So now we'll set this to group 6. 6A, flag is false, flag is now group 7, let's have that was flag 6, so yeah, this is now flag 7. Flag 7 for group 7, can't go wrong with that. So group 6A, group 6B, or group 6C. The joys of mission building, eh? Then we'll delete this, then we'll activate group 7A. And then what we'll do is put in this. What message shall we put? I suppose that could be a real bus and just say location unknown. That would work. Actually, let's do that. We'll call this group 6 dead. Message. Right, okay. Yeah, ground targets works. Then we'll put that onto flag 7. Clone this. That's all fine. Group 7B. So then just another direct clone on that, and then make that one 7C. So there we go. Now we've got. Did that clone? B. Didn't clone. 7. It's not annoying. Clone. Yep, 7C. Yeah, okay, right, so happy with that. Let's just check all of these. So we've got 3 mission starts, 3 group 1s, 39, 3 group 2s, 3 group 3s, MiG-21, 3 group 4s, 3 group 5s. Yeah, group 5 dead, that's fine. In fact, group 4, group 4. Group. Oh, okay, it's clear. I did, okay. So we've got 2 of the same trigger there, so we've got. Yeah, they're both the same, so I can delete that one. There we go. Okay, so 2 group 4s, which 2 group 4 deads, which activates one of the 2 group 5s. That's fine. That's why you check these things. 3 group 5s and 3 group 6 deads, and then group 7 is the last one. Now what we can then do is put in a trigger saying if these groups are dead, or group. Yeah, so we'll clone this, then we'll put in the mission success trigger. So if group 7A, 7B or 7C are dead, we don't need these. So group 7A, B or C dead, then send message to group just saying yep, Congress. So, no more enemy units spotted approaching. My God, I think we've done it. Congratulations, pilot. Come home for tea and crumpets. You've earned it. And Gory survived. And then what we'll do is that we'll put in a quick message of. I think there's one actually that says clear, doesn't it? Yeah. I think it's actually an AWACS message, isn't it? Let's have a look. Clean. Yeah, there we go. Clean.
Clean.
There we go. And then delete the flag, don't need a flag there. Okay, so that's the mission complete trigger. So when 7A, B or C die, message to all, to RTB, mission's been complete. So that's all good. Then what we need to do is set a mission fail trigger. Now what I could do is just say part of coalition in zone and put like a mission end trigger zone and say part of coalition zone, but the problem is if you're in air combat with a MiG-21 and a MiG-21 strays over Gory, it can happen, that would then end the mission. So what we could do then is put in, say, either group 1 or group 2 or group 3 or group 4 or group 5 or group 6 or group 7 enters the zone, then send the mission failed. I guess that's kind of the only way of really doing it. I guess there's no way in the triggers of specifying if a ground unit enters, so we'll call this one mission fail. In fact, that was the mission complete, wasn't it? So we'll change to mission complete. This one will be mission fail. Let's have a look. So I know you've got part of coalition in zone, but then again, like I said, if an aircraft like a MiG-21 or an L-39 strays into the zone, then that's going to end the mission kind of prematurely, and I don't really want that to happen. It would be nice if there was a ground unit in zone or something like that, but I guess the only way I found of doing it is putting if group in zone. Play scores less. Signal flare zone time less. So this one's going to be a pretty long down trigger. Yeah, the only way to do it is going to be group in zone, or part of group in zone. Part of group in zone. Group 1A or new. God, it's going to take forever, isn't it? Part of. In fact, what I could do is just clone that again, can I? So rather than that, just that. Say B. What I'm going to have to do though is put an OR between all of these, otherwise it's going to say that basically all of these groups have to be in the zone, or part of all of these groups in zone to end the mission, sort of thing. RD doesn't matter because they don't move. Okay, so there we go. So now we've got all of the units down as part of group in zone, mission end, and then what we need to do is just put in these ORs. So OR, down, OR, down, OR, down, OR, down. Talk about repetitiveness. There we go. So that's it. So this or 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 this. So there's a lot of kind of things there, but basically they all just mean the same. If there's part of this or this or this or this group, then send mission to group, mission to all, not marked to all, message to all, So Russian units have seized Gori and we must fall back now. Mission over. It's kind of like I said, short, sweet, to the point. Right, so that's like the mission end trigger. So if any of these units here, units can fly over, air units can fly over it, but it won't count. So ground units in this trigger zone, the mission end trigger zone here, then that will end the mission. Right, just trying to think if there's anything else I need to put in there. Ah yes, there is actually. I forgot. There's the cleanup triggers, because there's a problem with units in this game that when one convoy is passing another convoy and there's dead units on the ground, they just run into them, then they hang up and they stop moving. It's a real pain. So what I'm going to do is do a cleanup script to say when group 1 dead, clean up, when group 2 dead, clean up, when group 3 dead, clean up. So this is just kind of one of these there, so we'll put this as cleanup. So cleanup, new, group dead, group 1, new, deactivate, group 1. So now when group 1A dies, group 1A will deactivate. So what that means is that the units will be essentially just kind of cleaned off the map. What I do need to do, make sure though, is that that doesn't actually kind of affect the triggers, so I might test that as well just to be damn sure. So we'll clone and then group 2B, group 2B, and then clone group 1C, group 1C. So what this basically does is just get rid of the dead hulks off the ground. I'll actually test this just to make sure that the cleanup script doesn't affect the other scripts from firing. So we'll save that. Yep. What I actually do is put some USA armored. Can't find it. Abrams. There we go. Okay, so we'll put these here in front of group 1 because I know that'll kill them. And we'll put another group of Abrams here. Face these that way. Be easier than using Apaches that just seem to fly around in circles forever. And then the other group was down over this way, wasn't it? Yeah, here. Just want to make sure that deactivating doesn't actually kind of kill the trigger. And what I might do is put another tornado, or MiG-21, that's fair enough. He goes fast too. Flying into the trigger zone at 600. Cool, right, let's fly out. So just want to make sure that deactivating the units doesn't actually kill the trigger. I don't think it does, because I think as soon as the unit's classed as dead, the trigger fires, so then when it deactivates, it's still classed as being dead. So we'll just kind of see how this works now. Okay? So we've got the Abrams on the ground, which should kill group 1, then when they're done, group 2 should then spawn in. Let's actually go have a look at these guys. Are they messed up already? Nearly. Abrams makes short work of shit, man. Okay, so they're all dead. They didn't last long. There we go. So yeah, that worked fine. And then if we check this area, in fact, if we go F7, Control F11, then come forward, their wreck should then disappear. They're all still there. That's annoying. Okay. So I guess that doesn't matter anyway, because the wrecks don't disappear on the cleanup, so... Hum. I guess once they're dead you can't deactivate them. That's a bit of a bitch. So it would have been nice to get rid of their corpses, because when the next unit comes down the road and hits their corpse, like I said, they don't drive around them, they just run into them, and then yeah, bugger. Oh well, it's what it is. Cool. So I'll quit this. Open random. Cool. So that, believe it or not, is this mission, I think, done. I might add in actually a couple more AV8s, facts. Fac. Oops. Fac. UK. Come on, load in. Here we go. Right, okay, so I'll put these down to Have I got a fac? I do have a fac loadout. Okay, so I'll put that on there. Just make sure the rockets are right. Put it in ×2. Cool, and then in fact take off from ramp. What I like to do for the FAC aircraft, just to make things a little bit easier, is put kind of slightly different waypoints down around the main starting point. So we'll go east, north, and or west. I keep east and west, man. Jesus, I need to. So we'll do that, and then what we'll also do. I know it's kind of cheating, but I'll put points down on the artilleries as well. Just, yeah. So that the guys using FAC, if you want to use them, they know kind of where the main units are coming from. Then we'll put that down as a landing. Snap that to. Okay. Just trying to think of anything else we can put in. Oh, in fact, I didn't sort out the triggers for the tankers, did I? I need to do that as well, because I forgot about that. So back to the triggers, and then we'll do. In fact, what we can do is put a trigger zone in and around it. Trigger zone in here, please. And then we'll put landing. Keep forgetting I've got caps lock on. Landing, and then we'll colour this one in yellow. We'll make this a little bit bigger. We'll go. Okay. So now what we'll do with this is say that if units die or land, so like if the tanker or the AWACS run out of fuel and then they land, that'll then spawn in the next one, or if they got shot down and die, that'll then spawn in the next one. So we've got okay, so we'll go into triggers, we'll do new, this will be tanker, no, sorry, AWACS first. Yeah, we'll do AWAC gone, and then it'll be new, be group in zone. Where is it? Group in zone. Part of group in zone. It'll be AWACS in landing, new, activate group, activate AWACS 2. Or if got the ore, group dead. Group dead. Ore, thank you. Group dead. AWACS. There we go. So now we've got part of group in zone, AWACS in group landing, or the unit dies, spawn group 2. So now, if AWACS 1 dies or lands, the second AWACS will come in, and what we'll do is that we'll just clone this, and then we'll do this for tanker gone. So now this is tanker gone, and then what we'll do is just change this over to KC-130, or group dead, KC-130, activate KC-132. Cool. So now, hopefully these guys don't get shot down, but because the mission might end up being quite long, when they run out of fuel, so let's say the KC-130 runs out of gas, he then RTBs to land and then lands at Tbilisi because that's his landing point. When he enters the zone on his approach, the next tanker will then spawn in and then kind of start patrolling backs and forwards as well. So now you've got a bit more longevity on your tankers and your AWACS over the airfield. Yeah. So believe it or not, I think that's actually going to be ready to rock and roll. I'll probably kind of maybe play this tomorrow with the guys. I'll see what they feel about that, see how it works, and then kind of adjust it, because you kind of have to play these things out. It's all well and good looking at it on paper and kind of building it in the mission editor and see how it goes, but until you've actually kind of flown it and see how it feels when you're kind of in the air and flying it, you never really kind of you never know kind of how it's going to work out. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. I know this has been fairly long, but yeah, I hope that you've maybe learned something from this. How to kind of use triggers to create random events. So like I said, the way this has worked out, even though it's kind of the same thing happening, they're coming in from different directions, so it adds a bit more replayability in there. And looking at it on the mission editor here, it's kind of easy looking at it like this on the map, but when you're actually flying it and you're over the area, it becomes a hell of a lot harder. I mean, when I flew this earlier on the first version of this that I did, I found it really difficult finding units, even though I know roughly where they were going to be spawning in from. In fact, what I do need to do as well is set mission options in this. So we'll go allies only. So a few other things I actually need to do that I completely forgot about. So we'll set civ traffic to off. Cockpit visual recon mode, no user marks, tooltips on, external views on. Right, okay, so this is kind of generally how I use it. You can have your external views on so you can have a look about, and I'm not kind of au fait on that. You can turn those off if you want to. Turn permit crash recovery on. Radio assist not on, tooltips on. I turn off civ traffic on this mission because it's very hard spotting units on the ground as it is without having to kind of differentiate civilian traffic from the convoys that are moving backs and forwards. So we'll set the mission options there. Now there is one other thing you can do on this as well, which I've done on the other mission, and that's limiting the weapons that you can take with you. Now I do this just basically because I'm an arsehole. Now what you can do is turn off unlimited things, clear all of these. So now Vaziani has 0 of anything. There's no munitions on the ground, but then you can go in there and set the type of a missile that you want. So I know that the AV-8 carries the AIM-9M, I believe. You can actually check this in here. So let's have a look. So I'll just write down kind of what the weapons are. So this is air-to-air AIM-9M. AIM-9M. Rockets are, let's have a look. Rockets are fairly straightforward as well. So you've got Zuni, Fars, bombs, RKD2s. The main one is the missiles, actually, AGM. Okay. Svaziani full info equipment. So AIM-9Ms I'm going to set limit to 20. Now you might think, well, that's plenty, but if you lose an aircraft or if you spanner them off, 20 is not a lot of missiles. I mean, you could even set that lower to 10, but then depending on how many people are flying, it really limits as to kind of what you can take there. AGM, so I'm going to set these to be an absolute arsehole. I'm going to set them to 10 of each, so 10 Gs, 10 Hs. What this does is that it really kind of makes you think about kind of who's flying what missiles, or who's taking what missiles and where. 20 sidearms. And then what this does, it kind of it limits who can take what in game. Edge ground rockets. Hydra. So I'll set these actually all up to trying to think which ones are which. Fire 100. Now you take 19 of these at a time, so where were the Zunis? Zunis, well, those 50. Yeah. I think the 2.7 mm, did Harry's actually carry Hydras? Let's have a look. I don't think they do. Yeah, 2.75 on 7s for far 5.6. Yeah, they're the same, aren't they? For fars, not the Hydras. The Hydras are kind of American stuff, carried by like the A-10 and that. I put in 50. I don't think the Harrier does carry these, but I'll put these in just in case. Cool. AG bombs, right, bombs. Okay, so we want Mark 82 Slicks, 100, Mark 82 Snake Eyes, 100. One thing I'm not putting in is Mark 20s, because Mark 20s being cluster munitions makes life too easy. Air-to-ground guided bombs, GBU-12s will put 10. GBU-16s will put 10, which are the bigger ones as well. Fuel tanks. In fact, what I might do is, I'm trying to think which fuel tanks the Aviate takes now. In fact, let's take a look. 1D300s. Okie dokie. Is there a 1D300? Or just 300? 1D300 gallon tanks. Okay, there we go. So we'll put 50 and 50. Because fuel tanks are a good option anyway. But if you're dropping them, in fact, I mean, it could even lower that further, but if you're dropping your tanks, yeah, I'll put these even lower, I'll put 20. Because that way, if you take tanks, you have to keep them. You have to bring them back to base. If you're dropping off your tanks, like releasing them when they're empty, then you're going to run out of tanks pretty damn quickly. And then you'll come to a point where actually you can't take fuel tanks if you need them. And what I'm going to do with lightning pods is put 4. Decky pods, I'll put 10. Just trying to think. Go 12. Gun pods. 50. Cool. Right, okay. So that's actually probably a limited supply now. Don't tell anyone, but Tbilisi I'll leave with unlimited ammo. Yeah. What I'll do is I will file save this and I'll put this. Defend Gory version 2, which will be the full version. Cool. Alrighty then. I'm actually going to end this here. I've been at this quite some time. Again, like I said, I hope you've learned something from this. I'm sure this mission is going to be pretty fun to fly. If you would like a copy of this mission, send me a message, kind of PM me on YouTube or something like that and let me know. Send me email address and I'll send it on to you. If you want to be really kind, you could maybe even donate something to me, like donate via PayPal. It's PayPal me /smudge504. Send me £1, send me a penny, I don't care. Send me a donation with your email address if you want to, and I'll send you a copy of this as well. I'm not going to ask money for it. If you want it, I'll send it to you. If you want to donate something to help, the kind of DCS fund, I'd appreciate that. It really does kind of help when things like that do happen, but I'm not going to be an arsehole and say if you don't pay me I'm not going to give you the mission. But yeah, it is what it is. We'll see how that goes. I'll probably be flying that mission tonight with the 504 guys. I'll maybe even see if I can set up a live stream, but I'll have to okay that with them because generally on our mission nights, squad nights, I don't live stream because it's take live streaming things puts kind of more undue pressure on an already kind of pressurized environment when you're flying as a squad in a mission environment. But yeah, again, like I said, I'll leave this here. I hope that you've learned something about these triggers. I know it's kind of been a bit of a long kind of staring at a map and putting units in and things like that, but yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed, and I'll say thank you very much and we'll see you all next time. So bye for now.